Richard Oliff.
102.3
HFM.
HFM.
To 1974 from the album McGear. That is Mike McGear. Of course, Mike McCartney. 1974. That makes that album now 40 years old. And Mike McCartney joins me on the line. Hello, Mike.
Happy birthday to you. Excuse me, it was Richard. Yes. It was my birthday, 7th of Jan. I was born the 7th of the 1st, 44. And so I was, not you, obviously, looking at me over the phone, and all you wonderful HFM Leicester Drive show listeners can see quite clearly how young and vibrant I am. But I was actually 70 the other day.
Well, merry, merry 70.
Unbelievable.
It's great, is it? Do you actually, here's a question for you, and because I'm not far off that, miss, right? What does it feel? Do you feel 70? Could you ever have imagined...
Hold on, 17, I said.
Oh, 17.
Oh, 17, yeah.
Oh, you've ruined it now then, mate.
No, I'm very young and positive, looking forward to it all. And in fact, you talking about Mike McGear from the McGear album. Hey, that was a good... I'd forgotten how good the music was.
It's a great album.
What?
And, you know, it's funny, I got home last night and I said to my other half, Ros, I said, I've got that album. I'm digging that album out and I'm going to play a track. So there we are. Had to be done.
That was lovely to hear that again. That was one I can hear all the little bits. That was one where I said to our kid, can you do a solo? And he said, well, I'll get guitar or something. I said, no, can you do a solo on the bass? He said, well, I've never done a solo on the bass. I said, well, this is your chance. And so that was our kid's first bass solo on a record. It sounded, the whole thing sounded drumming. It sounded fantastic.
It's a great album. I love it. I mean, everyone's on there, actually. And I love the way some of the credits on it, like you say, Paul and Linda McGear. Everyone's McGear on the album.
Yeah, it was McGear. Hey, listen, I was nearly... There were two words in Liverpool.
I know what you're going to say. I know.
Go ahead.
Well, I said to someone this afternoon, I said, do you know what? There were two words that were really big around that time. One of them was gear. You tell me the other one.
Well, around Liverpool, at that time, when we were all innocent, the two big words were fab and gear. And our kid and his group, I can't remember what they were called again, they went to America and introduced fab to them over there. Actually, they were reintroducing it because it was in Liverpool. It was short for fabulous, which we got from the Americans. He just went over and his lot and made fab and fab gear, all that sort of stuff. So when it came to choosing a name, because our kid was in this big rock and roll group, which are getting quite famous at the time.
They were quite.
God knows where they are now.
Do you know what I mean?
But it was like, I thought, this is ridiculous. It was like having a surname like I could have been Mike Presley or Mike Sinatra, yeah. It was a bit
Mike Presley.
A bit insane. And so, right, I've got to change this to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
And so what do we call it? So at one stage, I was nearly J.P. Don Levy's Ginger Man book. I was nearly Mike Dangerfield.
Oh, you see, I like that.
That's quite cool.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
And then the other names were, because Fab was round Liverpool, oh, look at that girl over there, she's Fab. Or, oh, look at that squiffy beak, she's Fab Gear. She's the gear. That's what we used to say. She's the gear.
She's the gear, Grace.
So these are the words. And at one stage...
You could have been Mike McFab.
I was nearly Mike McFab.
Never were. Get out of here.
Honestly, that was one of the things we talked about in Uncle Bill's pub, the Eagle Hotel, Paradise Street, where Uncle Bill and my mum, who's his brother, it was my mum's brother, where they are now in Paradise, but that's where I changed my name. But I mean, McFab sounded a bit silly, but McGear sounded more Irish.
Oh, that was well gear. That, I mean, it was. It had gravitas.
It had an Irish feel to it, you see. That's where we all come from.
Ah.
Mike McGear is it.
Now listen, photographer, author and musician. You're going on tour.
What I'm going to do at each venue is do it according to you, because what it is me and my photos, right? That's going to be basically, it's me and my photographs that I've been taking for 70 years. And each time that I come to a different city, I will have things appertaining to, now, Portmeirion, for instance, I will be able to share with the people in that lovely little theatre in Portmeirion.
But can I ask you this, though, Mike? So the venues you've chosen, they seem to be rather intimate. Is that because when you're on stage, I mean, I have this vision of you sitting there in like a big armchair with a cup of tea.
Well, that's pretty damn near, isn't it?
Is it really?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, excellent. Good man.
A lovely evening out. What you do, if you come to mine, you have an evening out. At the end of the first half, I'm going to say, right, anybody here got any questions? So whatever comes out there every night is going to be totally different. So that is going to be fascinating.
But I've been doing a bit of research on you. Of course I have, naturally. You'd expect me to, wouldn't you?
Well, I should hope you would, Richard.
Because I'm telling you...
I mean, for instance, I used to go out with Ros. I bet you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
See, I've been doing my research on you.
There's going to be trouble tonight.
There is at your house.
So what's all this then? Who's this, Mike? Anyway, moving on swiftly. Tell me something. Now, I don't want to give too much...
I'm the terror.
I don't want to give too much away on this, but why did Billy Connolly have to separate you from Michael Parkinson?
Oh, dear. I can see it now. In the Tramp, it was called. It was a very posh nightclub called Tramp. And Billy said, what are you doing tonight, mate? I said, okay, I'm free tonight. He says, I'm down there. He didn't tell me he was with Parky.
Right.
And he says, I'm down Tramp tonight. I said, I've got to do something first, but I'll come on after. So I got down there and... then, excuse me, what the heck am I telling you these stories for, Richard Oliff?
You see?
You're not going to come to the theatre if I tell you this story. Let it suffice that at the end of the evening I found Parky was on one side and I was on the other side of Billy, and Parky was very jealous that Billy kept talking to me all evening.
Was he really?
Oh, God, you wouldn't believe it. he was getting slowly. I could feel the tension because Billy was, looking this way. All three of us were on this bench at the back of Tramp that was the table to get. And we're just three of us sitting together, Billy in the middle, and he's just talking to the left with me on the left. And Parky, I could feel these vibes coming through Billy's body. And death,
sort of lurking in the background, getting closer and closer.
I swear.
Yeah.
So come to the theatre and you will hear what happened.
I'm intrigued. And I promise I will not reveal what happened with Rod Stewart, Freddie Starr and Jimi Hendrix. I won't mention a word.
They're all possible of having... Well, I'll give you a little tip. Jimmy was my backing musician, as indeed Elton John was Scaffold's backing singer.
Right.
I only found that out by...
So you didn't know at the time?
No, I didn't. I don't know half of it. It's only when you go to the Castle of May and the Majors tell you the Queen's mother's favourite song was Thank You Very Much. Oh, no, I've let another one out. Why am I talking to you? Nobody's going to come and see this show now.
Listen, can I tell you something? All right, and it's something I have to thank you for because...
Very much.
Yeah, very much. Way back through the mists of time, right? My dad, like most dads with kids and everything else, they'd say, pop music, long head layabouts, this, that and the other. So he didn't like any of that. Then one morning I came downstairs and my dad was in the kitchen and all I heard was... Thank you very much for the entry, and thank you very much. I thought, yes, result. So I have you to thank for that, so thank you. I've been dying to say that for years.
How I knew, we'd only just recorded it. Now, do you ever remember a group called keep going, Michael, a group called the Yardbirds?
Oh, I do, certainly.
Okay, so do you remember the bass player, Paul Samuel Smith, who became a very fine producer? He did all Cat Stevens' first big albums. Then he went on to do Carly Simon, big producer.
Right.
But at the time, he was just in the Yardbirds. And I used to stay with him in London every now and then, between our kids and him and whoever I could get a free bed from, And so one day...
Our kids, excuse me, we're talking about Paul McCartney. Can we say that?
Well, you might be, but I'm talking about our
kids.
And... one day, Paul Samuel Smith, the other Paul, rang me up, and this is just when Thank You Very Much has only just been released, and it was just had a few plays. It certainly wasn't climbing. It wasn't in the chart. It was, it was nowhere. And Paul Samuel Smith rang me. I said, "Hi, Mike." He said, "You've got a hit on your hands." I said, "Sorry?" He said, "Thank you very much. It's a hit." I said, "Paul, it's only just been released. What are you talking about? It's a hit." He said, "It's very simple. The milkman came this morning, put the milk bottles down, and as he was going down the path, he went..."
Yeah.
Which brings me to another whistle you may have heard for 20 years. Do you want to hear another one?
Go on.
Might or might not be in the show?
Go on.
It's up to all your readers and your viewers listening to this insanity to be the first to get where this comes from. And this was my whistle for 20 years. Now, tell me where it came from, if I can wet my lips.
Go on, then. The Liverbirds. Loved it.
It was my whistle on the telly for over 20 years.
It was.
When, as an actor who interviewed me, a very good actor, I can't remember his name now, and he found out that he said, "You're a Scottish actor, very good, heavy actor." I cannot remember his name now.
Aye.
And he said, "You were the whistle out of the Liverbirds."
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
You see, but wasn't that the secret of a lot of songs then? It was, if it was whistleable...
Yes.
Because people whistled more then. They don't seem to do that.
They did.
They really whistled. The milkman whistled, my dad whistled, everyone was whistling. Right. And there was... Did you know...
My dad, sorry to interrupt you, Rich. My dad, his father, used to call him Duzzy.
Divvy?
No, Duzzy. And so, Daddy, hey, Duzzy, come here, Duzzy, da. So, Dad, why do you keep, my dad said to his dad, why do you keep calling me Duzzy? And he finally found out Does he whistle?
Does he?
That's why it was called Duzzy.
Does he whistle? Yeah.
Like I was called Flash Harry by Brian Epstein.
There was always a bloke in the street who could do that really warbly whistle.
You mean it?
Yeah, that one. I can't do that to save my life, and it was a bit irritating actually because you couldn't do it.
Oh well, if you ever want to do a record, a whistling record, hire me.
You're the man. We could do a duet.
Whistling McGear McCartney. That's what, when you said McGear at the beginning, Tim Quinn, who was he was the editor of Marvel Comics, and he is putting on this tour for me. He's an amazing guy. And he said, don't forget to tell him your Facebook is Mike McGear McCartney. So that's where they can find all about me on the Facebook, or FaceTube as my wife calls it.
FaceTube, yeah. Do you have, before we end this conversation, because I could talk for hours with you, Mike, but the thing is, your photographs, do you have a favourite era, or indeed do you have a favourite set of pictures? The ones that you look at and you go, now that really sums it up.
Well, that's era when I was learning photography. Like our kid was learning music in one side of the house in Forth Inn Road, and I was learning photography in the other. That era was particularly magic because you would go out into mainly Liverpool at that time, and as well as having your home, your dad and our kid and whoever came round the scaffold, whoever came round the house, and then you go out into Liverpool and you had the venues and your heroes like Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Gene Vincent live on the Cavern. So you take all these images, but of course you just took the photos, and where do you go now? You either had to put them in to the chemist or learn how to develop and print your own.
Did you do that? Did you print your own?
I did. I tell you what, I tell you where it started. Trying to take some photographs of these enormous seagulls outside in the garden of Forth Inn Road, and they turned out as tiny little dots on the prints. And I thought, there's more to photography than meets the eye. So I got on the 86 bus, went up to the Allerton Library, got all the books out, and learned photography from books, and then developed and printed my own. And I must have done a good job, because centuries later, there are exactly those images that I took, I developed and printed, and must have done it right, because there are those same images bought by 11 of them were bought by the National Portrait Gallery in London, and a whole exhibition of them ended up in the Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. So must have done something right.
How beautiful is that? Mike, can I just say thank you very much?
Thank you very, 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 very much.
No, Mike, thank you very much.
Richard, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the bird and bees. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the bird and bees. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the family circle. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the family circle. Thank you very much, thank you very, 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 very much. You don't know how much they all mean. They seem much better in my dreams. Thank you very much for the Aintree Island. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Aintree Island. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for love. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for love. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Sunday joints. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Sunday joints. And our cultural heritage. National beverage. Being fat. Union Jack. The nursery rhymes. Sunday Times. The napalm bomb. Everyone. Thank you very much, thank you very, 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 very much. It was simply spiffing and true. Now let me whisper, I love you. Thank you very much for the Aintree Iron. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Aintree Iron. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for playing this record. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for playing this record. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for our gracious team. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for our gracious team.